Hey, it's Kathryn Eyring, and I want to talk to you about nostalgia and feeling nostalgic by looking at old photos. It's actually a really good time to do that. So, nostalgia can be considered really healthy. It's a remembering of the past, looking back and wishing sometimes that the old times were back. But that is not always a bad thing. Now, yeah, you can go down a rabbit hole and you can take it too far and let yourself get super depressed, but that's not usually what happens. Actually, when you look at the old photos, you get reminded that, a version of normal always returns, that people are resilient, that we are strong. It gives you confidence in the future and what's coming next. In addition, it can really give you, maybe build more respect for the older adults in the family and those who have already passed. So here's my story of the Eyring family for you. I think you just might enjoy. So here's my story. Meet Jacob Eyring. He was born in 1863, and Jacob married Emma Bletch. So the two of them were married and they had 3 sons. Here are their 3 sons. I know that the picture is fading, hard to see, but the sons were Arthur, Herb, and Raymond. Unfortunately, after that, Jacob died. He was only 30 years old, and in 1893 he died. So then Emma is a widow with 3 boys. So what happens next? She marries Jacob's brother, Edward Eyring. This would be my great-grandfather, my great-grandmother. And now they have 2 more boys. So Emma has had 5 boys, and those groups of 3 boys and 2 boys are brothers and cousins both. So Edward Eyring starts Eyring Movers. And here is a picture that, if you're familiar with the Eyring Movers trucks, one of the trucks, or maybe more than one, has this picture actually on it. And it's the man who is shorter, who is, in fact, Edward Eyring. Okay, so then there's Eyring Movers, and they continue to grow up. Here are the 5 boys as they get older. So now we have Arthur, Herb, Raymond, another Edward, and Roger. And yeah, the 2 younger ones have long hair, and I guess that was pretty typical at the time. Okay, so then we have the first Edward Eyring. Now we have another Edward Eyring. That happens to be my grandfather. And that would be this one right here. All right, so then Eyring Movers continues down with him. And here is a pretty cool picture of the 5 boys now as they're older. So again, there's the great-grandpa and the grandma. And then for me, my grandfather is that gentleman right there. From there, Eyring Movers went to my father, who is another Edward Eyring. And then from there to my brother, who is another Edward Eyring. And at some point, I think it's going to be owned by my son, Brian. Here's another fun picture, because this is, if you can see, my great-grandparents sitting outside their home. And this would be one of the horses that would have been used to pull the wagons for moving. And there's another one of the boys. I believe here there's 2 boys on that horse. And there's another boy. There's another one. And let's assume one is in the house. So that's my story, and I would love to hear about your stories as well. So I think it can be really fun to look at family history, and especially today in what's going on. It can actually be really fun. It's a great project. So let me know if you have a fun project going on and tell me about it in the comments.